Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo.
Hello, I'm Johnny Bravo. Today you're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Deane Walden, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Deane, I'm so happy to have you here, man.
I'm happy to be here, man.
So Deane and I go way back, all the way to youth group at our church. I know Deane's been involved in music, and I got him to be part of season 2 in the band because he used to be in a couple of groups and bands. Now he's a solo artist, and I wanted to get together with him and chat with him about all of that stuff. He was in the Paper Chasers, 804. He's going to tell us about some of the other groups, and then he's also had a solo career blowing up on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your musical self.
I'm a twin, so I have a brother named Devin. When I was young, I got into music, but I didn't start doing hip-hop until I was about 15, 14. Me and my brother, actually, we took Masonry class in our high school. We started recording in the Masonry class locker room. We didn't really know what we were doing. We had these old computer headsets, and we had all of our friends in there. It was pretty crazy once you think about it. We started doing music around that time when I was 15. And about 16 is when we kind of like started taking off a little bit, like at our high school, started getting some friction, and they heard a couple of our songs that we made. And then we had 4 people that wanted to join us. So it was like 2 white dudes at a high school. I went to a high school with, mostly my black brothers. And me and my brother, we were like really the only 2 white twins that went to this school. So we were pretty popular at that point. Then we became 7 deep in the group. We had 7 people at the age of about 17. And we were still recording in the Masonry locker room, doing stuff after school. We would even go into our cars at lunchtime to record on our laptops. It was probably about 18. We graduated everything. I got married when I was 18, right out of high school. I got my own place with my wife. We lived in a trailer for a couple of years. But I gave up music around that time to be with my wife. Probably about a year later, my wife was working, I was working. I was getting bored at home, so we started recording again. And I had a lot more freedom this time because I wasn't at my parents' house. We brought back the group, and we brought back the same name. We started off Paper Chasers, and we were doing hip-hop music. And then we added the name Paper Chasers 804 at the end of it because there was already another group at the time called Paper Chasers, I think out of Atlanta or somewhere. Started making like mixtapes after mixtape, man. I was 19. I didn't stop that group until I was about 23, I want to say. It was 23. I think we ended up making about 9 mixtapes. And we made a lot of moves, man. We actually did a song with DJ Paul from 3-6 Mafia. Now, take it for granted, this was all secular music, okay? Like, this was about drugs. This was about women. This was some heavy, hip-hop and trap music that we were making at the time. We came in second at the fair here where we live at. We had a nice little run with the group. It was tough because it was about 7 of us in the group still. Everybody wasn't on the same page, and life gets in the way and things like that. I can talk about that all day, man.
And I remember some mixed CDs that I'd gotten from you or your dad. I was looking for those. I was looking on Spotify for the Paper Chasers. There are a lot of groups on Spotify with Paper Chasers in the name, trying to find y'all's music so I could reminisce before I interviewed you. And I couldn't find the disc, and I couldn't find you on Spotify. But I know you're on Spotify with SwitchinLanes and also under Deane Walden.
Right.
And you've gotten pretty big and a lot of follows, and you're doing Christian music. Would you label it Christian music?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. So long story short, man, I was doing that secular music for so long. Like I said, we started off at 15, got married, brought it back. I was 23 years old, and, I grew up as a Christian. I saw you in youth group. I love Jesus and I love God, but I just won't live in like Jesus wanted me to. And I was really like a baby in the whole Christian community because I never really read the Bible for myself, didn't really care. I just always went to youth groups, listened to the dope messages, and was like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely a sinner. I definitely need to be saved. And that was basically how far I went with it. But I had an encounter with Christ when I was at work when I was 23 years old. I was working in a crawl space, and me and my friends, like, we're big conspiracy nuts. And we were talking about all these conspiracies, the satanic, what was it? It's called satanic panic back in the day. We were talking about Freemasonry. It was the whole, faking the moon landing. And I remind you, we're in a crawl space working. This is when I was smoking cigarettes too. My friend, he was a Christian too. We both knew that we say we believe in Jesus, but then he started talking about hell. This theology is all messed up right now. But as I grew in the Lord, I understood this really didn't matter. He had in his mind, and I didn't know, because like I said, I was a baby. So I was like, oh yeah, okay. But he was trying to tell me that there was this unforgivable sin, called blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, it's when you make fun of God. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, man, if you've ever made fun of God, you're doomed to hell. I'm like, hold on, what are you talking about? I'm pretty sure we've all made jokes before. I was like, look, I got to go outside. You got to show me the verse. He showed me the verse where it talks about Jesus. You won't be forgiven if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Now I know it means you never receiving Jesus as your savior. But at the time, it freaked me out. I thought I was going to hell. It just opened my eyes up. And that day is when I had my change, man. I went from secular lifestyle to, I want to know what the Bible really says. I want to know who Jesus is. I really want to know for myself. And I know it kind of sounds corny, it wasn't a big deal, but it was a big deal to me at the time because I was young and dumb and didn't really understand anything. It just opened up my eyes, man. And no lie to you, man, a week later, I left Paper Chasers because we were also having some issues. Like I said, you have 7 people. We had a deal in the works with Universal Music Group. I don't know if I can say their name or not, but we knew someone big there. I could say his name, but we had a couple interactions with him. We went to New York to meet him. He came down here for a week. Universal flew him out. We had a big deal going on. I know this is going to sound weird, but he wanted all of us to lose weight and basically, be sexy. He wanted all of us to be cut, in shape. He said we have the music. He just wanted our image to be better. Because when you try to sign a group, it's very hard because it's a lot of money split different ways. But we had such a versatile group. That's what they were looking at. We had 3 white guys and 4 black guys. And we did R&B, pop, rap. We did basically the whole genre you can think of at that time. I guess it was 2009, 2010 era. So that was that whole deal with that. So we had a whole big deal with that company. And this was still in the works when I had that encounter with God. Week after that crawl space incident, like I said, I know it sounds kind of corny. I was like, look, I have to get deep into this Bible. I got to see who Jesus is for real. There's so many things I don't know. And I left the group, and I still left the group open for them to be together. See, I was the engineer. I engineered all of our music. If you hear anything from us, that was all me. I engineered everything. And I had the studio. But I said to them, I said, y'all can still use a studio. I can't engineer your stuff because that's me promoting something I don't agree with no more, but y'all can still do it. And long story short, it kind of just fell apart because everybody wasn't on the same page, and I was kind of the glue. Me and my brother were, holding that group together. I still talk to some of the guys in the group today. They're still deep down. I know there's some tensions because of how everything went and how there was a deal laying there on the table and stuff like that, because we did work very, very hard at the time. To get a DJ Paul feature is, we got it for free from him too. That verse is probably worth, I don't know, he could have charged us easy $50,000, but he liked the song so much. He actually tried to buy the song from us. And we were so ignorant at the time. We were like, nah, we don't want you to buy it. We just want you to be featured on it. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, man, we should have just sold it to him and pocket the money. That's why this other group that I had started after Paper Chasers was called SwitchinLanes, because I had an encounter with Jesus and I wanted to switch my lanes over. I wasn't living for God. And then I had an encounter with God and understood I wasn't on the page that he wanted me to be with him. I started SwitchinLanes. It was a Christian hip hop group. And it was awesome because my twin brother kind of jumped on the wave with me because he was the same way. He believed in Jesus, but we kind of went to a school where hip hop was the culture. You know what I'm saying? Cussing, rapping, smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? It was just the culture that we kind of adapted as our lifestyle. And we let that culture basically not brainwash us, it just pulled us in. He said the same thing. He was like, dude, I'm on board. Let's do this. Let's make Jesus music. We started it in 2014, I think. Yeah, it was 2014, I think, is when we started Switching Lanes. It was kind of remarkable because everybody in the old group in Paper Chasers, it was like God replaced them with someone just like them, but, you know, they were on Jesus' team. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the guys that God replaced these guys with kind of acted alike, but they loved Jesus. Not saying that the people that was in Paper Chasers didn't love Jesus, but it was remarkable how it happened so fast and how God, you know, added to this new team. We did Switching Lanes for about 3 years, almost 4 years. I don't know if it was longer than that. Man, we blew up, bro. We were doing concerts around Virginia. We traveled to West Virginia. I think it was the summer of 2017. We were booked out that whole summer, and it was the first time I've ever been out of town to do, you know, concerts or shows. We had one like every week, and it was awesome, man. And I love everybody in that group. But long story short, it's so hard when you're in a band, when you're in a group, because there's so many people. I've always heard like this, man, if there's one dead root in the garden, it'll kill all the fruit on the tree. When you're not on the same page with people, gaps get bigger. And then what happens is people conspire against you. This person's saying this person's saying this. In Switching Lanes, we changed so many people's lives with the gospel. We had so many people come up to us and send us emails. So we were changing people's life. Well, first off, it wasn't us changing people. It was Jesus changing people through us. So we were going over Ashland, Mechanicsville, New Kent. We had churches all over. We were doing shows and ministering to tons of people. So I have a kid, and I started becoming more of a dad through this process. So I had a kid in 2015 who started Switching Lanes, went out in 2014. Switching Lanes didn't start growing until 2015, 2016-ish. Like, it didn't start getting bigger until that time. When we started getting more of these out-of-town shows, I was like, look, man, I can't really go because I have to be there for my kid. So basically, I had to play family guy. I had to be a family dad. And I told the group members, and most of them understood, but there was a little tension of me not going out to these out-of-town shows because I was on a lot of these songs. You know, I gave the option. I was like, look, y'all are going out of town more than I am. Let's do some songs with just, you know, these specific people on the songs so they can go out of town and won't feel some type of way. And we did do that. But like I said, I started the group, so I was kind of the mold and the glue to all of this because I had the studio and I had the camera. It's kind of where it started falling apart, man. And I don't want to say it fell apart because, you know, God's the one that created it. But we became distance. The whole group became distance because of the time I couldn't put back into it at a certain time period when we were at a certain peak. And one day, man, I don't know if I should tell all this, but one day we were having a Switching Lanes meeting at a specific diner, and me and one group member who I love to death, and we are cool now today. But we had a big argument, man. We had a big argument in front of everybody. Some curse words were said from both of us, and a lot of people were there. And I was like, okay, I'm out. And unfortunately, that's when I left the group. And then after that, slowly it just started declining. Everybody was moving. This person had a baby and yada, yada. But Switching Lanes is still there. I still talk to everybody that was in the group. I mean, that guy that got into an argument, he's the best songwriter I've ever met. He's probably one of the best artists, best freestyler. I mean, this dude he's got a God-given talent. Probably the best artist I've ever met when it comes to like lyrically. And we're good now. But I was so hurt at the time, I didn't want to be a part of nothing anymore because I know I had to be there for my son. So after that happened, my son got a little bit bigger and I started just doing solo music. And ever since I started doing solo music is when I started getting more traction for some reason. I don't know if it's just because that's how solo artists are today or if it was because that's when Spotify had first really started booming. But I started doing solo Christian music. There was a company, it's a Christian company called Rapzilla. They're kind of like the hip hop platform for Christian artists. They reached out to me one time after I dropped my first solo album. They reached out to me and they were like, hey man, we really like your stuff. We're doing this like promotion to help like new artists. I forgot what the program they called it is, but basically we would split everything 50-50 and they would promote my stuff and promote my songs and put it on their platforms. I did it, and man, it got me like, when I first started with them, man, it got me up to, I think it was like 20,000 monthly listeners. It was a blessing because I thought I was kind of tapped out for music after switching lanes because I was so hurt because I loved the group so much. And we had we had bangers, man, and it was all for Jesus. God just showed me never to give up, even though you feel like your testimony's done, your story is at its peak. I mean, you can keep on going, man, and it will. It'll keep on going until the day you die. I started doing solo music, man, took off, and now I'm at a time where I'm still doing solo music. I've dropped, I think, 4 or 5 solo albums. I recently just dropped a R&B album that is strictly for my wife. It's kind of got like it's like a modern day, like Jersey boy type feel to it. And you know, it's all Christian based still, but I would consider this one like R&B. And I also would do like clean pop songs here and there just because of my love for pop music. But I would definitely consider myself a Christian artist. I don't really have much debate over that. I know there's a big thing in Christian hip hop about, are you a Christian artist or are you a Christian that's an artist? Now I'm here now talking to you, man. So I know you got some questions to ask me. I'm sorry I was talking your head off.
No, that's all right. The listeners, if they don't appreciate it, I appreciate it because I know you have, you know, this strong love for Christ. And I know when you're explaining this incident that happened in the crawl space, some people might think, you know, he's crazy or whatever, but you go through these experiences like this when you believe in Christ. Remember, one of the youth teachers used to say he saw license plates that had messages on it from the Lord and remind him to pray for certain people. Yeah, I mean, so if you don't believe in Christ, it just sounds kind of silly. You're just like, whatever, right? But I know that experience was real with you. I remember you told me a story where you were performing and you felt like these big giants or these big shadow creatures were like over you or in front of you or something like that. I remember you telling me that at one time too. So I'm sure that probably, you know, scared you as well. And it seems like when you tell your story, you know, you were on the cusp here 2 separate times with a group where you could have just like blown up and, you know, the Lord had you take a different route. And I know the other thing about you is that you're a real strong husband. You're a real strong father in that regards. Toby Mac lyrics when he says, I want to be a strong dad and that kind of thing. And I know that means a lot to you too. So I can totally see that in the story that you're telling. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on too, because I know you're going to bring that message and I know you're going to bring that message raw, but that's you. And that's what I'm trying to portray here to the folks that are listening, because I think that people need to hear it and it is real and it is real life.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, that story I told you, I was in New York, and it was the first show that the guy from Universal came out and was watching us. And the whole time, man, I could just feel like a demonic like presence in the whole. It was like this big club, and my brother felt the same thing. And it was something in the crowd or something that I was seeing like in the very, very back, man. And I can't even really explain it, but it was like. And then I would also have like certain dreams about like shadow people. I'd have sleep paralysis. And this was all when I was doing, I'm not saying secular music is bad because the world needs secular music to make it go round, because secular music, I know this doesn't sound weird, but secular music gives a platform to Christian music and it gives a lot of tang to Christian music. But it's just so much other things that come with that whole lifestyle. What was the second thing that you were saying about the, I had something I was going to say that you were referring to.
About your message and you being, you know, strong husband and a strong dad, you know, strong father.
Yeah. And that was something I had to really sit down and pray about it, because I always had a drive to make a group, get a group put on. Like I wanted to be the Christian Wu-Tang. Like I wanted it to be something special. This is what I was going to say. So when we had that Universal deal going on, you know, that's when I switched lanes. I left it on the table for the, you know, for the Lord. But the same thing happened with switching lanes, man. Like when I left switching lanes, we were like at our peak, and we actually had a certain other Christian platforms like really interested in who we were. It's just so weird, man. And at both of those peaks is when God like kind of just like pulled the plug, you know, and And he does that because sometimes, I mean, actually every time, if you look at the greatest people in the Bible, God will make you go through the desert and be alone to have a longer encounter with him, you know, just like Moses, a whole bunch of other people in scripture.
And I know what you're saying too about the music industry, and it's not really the music. It's just the industry itself. You know, Prince had it on his face for so long when he became the symbol that he was a slave to Warner Brothers because he didn't own his music. He had produced all this music, and you know, being a producer and coming up with the song and the lyrics and the beat and all that stuff, you know what it takes to do that. Prince did this multiple times, not just Prince, but I mean, and as much as I love, you know, secular and non-secular music, it's the artists that are really being manipulated. TLC signed a contract and they basically got like some exteriors, and I think that was like their bonus. And they had sold like 6 million records, and it's like, where's the money, you know? And it's because the contract that they signed, and so the industry's evil, you know, and it can be really evil.
People make fun of Kanye West for his little shenanigans that he does, but like, you know, what he was saying last year, he kept on bringing up Prince about all these rappers, not just rappers, but most of the people in the music industry, they don't own any of their rights, their exclusive, their royalties. And it's modern day slave ship, man. That's what he said. He says a modern day slave ship when it comes to the music industry, because what they want you to do is, you know, sign this 360 deal. And once you sign that deal, bro, you're done for years. And the only person that I've seen that was successful was Taylor Swift. She signed a 360 deal from what I saw and read. And she blew up so fast, she was able to pay herself out that original deal. But, you know, and it's stuff that we don't see, you know, she's probably still under some different contract now with a makeup line. You know, we don't know what these people are doing, but, you know, God don't want anybody being in any debt, you know what I'm saying, at all. And I love secular music. Don't get it twisted. I'm all about secular music. You know, I'm not like condemning anybody in the secular realm at all. But when it comes to like these contracts and the way that the music industry, I don't even know if I can be talking about all this, but, you know, there's this conspiracy out there about a certain rap label right now who has had like 6 deaths, 6 deaths under their label. And the conspiracy is they're taking out life insurance on these rappers. And, you know, these other 6 artists have died under this certain label.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it's a lot of crazy stuff in the music industry. And, you know, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of, you know, satanic symbolatry and a lot of stuff. I question it because I'm like, all right, you know, someone has to put this there. You know, they put this there and this there. Like, someone has to literally sit there and put these things in order. And yeah, it's a whole different conversation, man.
It's funny
Prince was onto something for real.
Yeah, and it's funny that you brought up not funny, but and when you brought up Taylor Swift, because she had that dark album too, did the tour with the Snakes and everything like that. And most people wouldn't think that to look at that any different, but it was totally a breakaway from her image.
Right.
You know, and she went back to her image not too much after that and looking sexy and all that kind of stuff. And then you brought up rap stars, you know, like Jay-Z and Beyonce. They say that they're following the Illuminati. Some people believe this, some people don't. You know, when she performed at the Super Bowl, they say that she was doing certain satanic things. And there was pentagrams and different things. And so you can look at that one way and say, oh, that's not real. Or you can look at it another way and say it is real. And sometimes it's an artist and sometimes it's the label, you know, or the people behind the label.
Right. Pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear so many songs. I mean, 21 Pilots has a song about, you know, the industry. There's songs from other artists like Pink Floyd. You know, they're talking on Wish You Were Here. They don't even know which person in the group is named Pink.
Right.
And because they don't even know, they don't care as long as you're making them the green.
Right.
Well, you talked about this a little already about how old you were, but when did you first discover music? Like, what kind of music were you into? How old were you? What were you doing?
So the first time I ever discovered like a jingle or any type of like tune, there's 2 incidents. First off, my mom used to, I know this will sound weird, but she used to hum to me and my brother. Like I said, I'm a twin. She used to rub our backs and like hum to us when we were little. And she hummed a certain song and that tune will forever be in my head. And then second of all, the first time I actually heard like an actual song and grasped the lyrics was Jesus Loves You, of course, from church. I remember just singing that in children's church. We would go there, we would start off with like a little worship, and we would sing that song. And then we had like this cool like puppet show that they would do. I think it was my mom humming, and then it was Jesus Loves You. Now, if you want to know like my first song that I actually like was hooked on as a little kid, you're probably gonna laugh, but there's two of them, man. There's got to be two of them because it was the same era. But it was by Eiffel 64, and it was I'm Blue, I would die.
Oh yeah,
It
I
was
remember that song.
Just like I'd be at Skateland, man, and that just hit, man. I don't know what it was, but that song just hit. And then it was the other song was by Hanson, and it was Bop. That was like the banger of my childhood. I think Eiffel 64 was the first thing I've ever bought, like on my own. It was from Planet, I was thinking it was a Planet 9. I can't remember what it was, but it was on tape. I asked my mom, I was like, I really like this song, I'm Blue. I don't even know if CDs were a thing back then, but I remember I got Eiffel 64, I'm Blue on tape, and I had my little tape player that I could bring with me. And I would just listen to it while I was at daycare and stuff. That was like my first one that I actually like just was infatuated with.
So that answers question 3, because that was my next question. What was your first song that you remember? So I'm Blue, that's the one that you first remember. And that's
like
a cool
lyrics
song.
by lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that banger.
I think my son liked that song too. And the video, is it Blue Man Group, or is this all blue or something?
Yeah, it's like they're blue aliens and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So it's funny how you have some of those songs that catch on to you. I like that you mentioned too about the singing and also like the puppets and stuff like that, because that's some of the things I remember growing up in church. And the other thing being the parachute. You throw the parachute up and everybody goes underneath it. Yeah. But you're always surrounded by music in church. And there's a lot of artists that came up in the church, Whitney Houston, others, that they didn't maintain some of that secularity. Whitney Houston, unfortunately, took a different turn. A lot of artists did grow up, like Aretha Franklin and others, in church and singing the gospel. Those are good times to remember.
Definitely. Yeah, they're the best, man, for real. It sticks with you forever. I mean, I know a lot of people, they don't really think about it, but the stuff I do with my children, that stuff, man, you remember that stuff forever. I will forever remember going in children's church and singing certain songs, and people take those little instances, with kids for granted. There was this guy that was called the Candy Man. He was at church, and he would come around. He had always candy on him, and he would give everybody candy for free. And just little things, man, that always stick with you. It actually creates the artists who I am today. The same thing with R. Kelly, same thing with Chris Brown, like you said. So the other artists is, even Katy Perry once was, Jessica Simpson. I mean, it's like so many people that are big artists today start off in the church. I mean, Big Sean, he's a rapper that's pretty big. He started off as, like he was like rapping about God and Jesus.
You're talking about all those artists that went to church and sang in the church and built up their music career that way. It's not like everybody had Disney, kind of like there's that whole group of artists that came out of Disney, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears. You had a bunch of those folks that had Disney for that same kind of growth in their music. And so some people don't have that. So the local church is their outlet for that.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Let's take a short break here and we'll be right back after this, okay?
Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo.
We are back. I'm Johnny Bravo. You're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Deane Walden, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. The next question on the list is your first couple song. So I know that you're married, and I'm not going to have you list another song, but one for your wife. Is there one that you guys dance to at the wedding, or one that you always dance to or like?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So we had a wedding, but we got married by a guy named Morgan Day. He was a pastor friend of ours, but we didn't have a huge wedding. Like, we bought our trailer at 18. My wife was still in school. I was graduated, but she failed when she was younger. So she was still in 12th grade. I proposed and we got married and we lived in a trailer, but we didn't have a big wedding at all. It was like 4 or 5 people there. But this song is super special to me. It's by Mario, and the song is called Let Me Love You. It was a song that was like really popular when me and Tiffany met. The funny fact is about this song was, I think I was 17 or 16. I can't remember the exact my age, but I think I just turned 17 and the song was like popping on radio. I loved the song because I loved Mario as an artist. I asked her out through this song. So one night, me and her were talking on the phone. We would talk like 2 o'clock in the morning. And these were like the old Razor flip phones. So this was a big deal. But I was talking to her and all of a sudden I hung up on purpose and I changed my voicemail real fast. I don't even really remember how I did it. But I would play the song Let Me Love You for like 3 seconds. And then my voicemail was like, Tiffany, I know you're listening to this. Will you go out with me? It was something like that. And then it was like, leave a message. And she was calling me back because, my phone hung up. And then she left me a message. It was like, of course I'll go out with you. Then I cut my phone back on, listened to the message, and I called her back. So it's definitely a Maury, Let Me Love You. That's a special song that will always be special.
That's a real nice story. I enjoyed that with the Razor phones and you changing the voicemail. That was always a fun thing that you could do when we first got phones that most people probably don't even, they don't even probably set their voicemails nowadays. And we used to think it was so cool that you could, put different sound effects. I think I had Han Solo on mine talking about the Force or something that I'd gotten off the TV. But and my wife and ours wedding, we didn't have a lot of people. I mean, we had a lot of people, but we didn't have a very big wedding. And the church kind of put it on. And both of us were at the time unemployed. And so we were going out to pay for stuff. And the church had already picked it up, like our cake. We would go, to pay for this, and then somebody had already picked it up. So it was a real special time for us, too. So those smaller weddings, the smaller engagements, sometimes it's all you need. You just need the service.
Definitely.
And then it makes it official.
Definitely. It makes it super official, man. We're eventually going to do like a revow type of thing here in the next couple of years, and we'll make that one real big. But it's nothing like starting off little and getting to that point, Now your family's big and amazing. It's a blessing, man, all around.
Plus, you're able to afford to maybe move into a place and do other things because you're not spending all of your money on, dress and cake and a place to have it.
Right. Yeah, exactly, man. Now people get married at like 40, so they got good jobs. And it's really sad because a lot of people look at me and Tiff, probably just like you and your wife. We got married right out of high school. And like I said, she was in 12th grade still. She was actually really upset because when she graduated, my last name is Walden. She was like one of the last ones to go up and walk because usually you can get your diploma and you can really just leave if you really want to. She had to wait to the very, very end. But it's just sad, man, the way the world's going today that people are just really against marriage, man. And in my opinion, marriage was the best thing for me that I've ever done, except, accepting Christ is the number one thing I've ever done. But getting married at a younger age, you get to grow with that person. You get to grow with that person, go through things with that person. You learn, you know what I'm saying? That's what a relationship is. Nowadays, people using Tinder and all these platforms, they're getting these one-night stands. And I'm not condemning these people. Believe me, I'm not condemning. It's just sad that someone at 30 or 40 can't experience what I've experienced at a younger age. Now they get together with these people and they're older, and then they try to have babies, try to start a family at an older age. Sometimes it just doesn't work out because you're already creating your own foundation by yourself, and it's harder to adapt to that other person's foundation that they've already created themselves. That's why it's so special to me personally to try to find someone at a younger age so you can create a foundation together, create a system together that works. So
yeah, getting married at a younger age does help you build a relationship. But if you sit there and wait for this and wait for that, you're never going to do it. And then you might be too old to do it, like you're saying. And it's easier when you can get in there. We didn't marry right out of high school or anything. I was actually older than my wife, but we have grown together. And that's part of being married. And it's not always a 50-50 deal. It's an 80-30. It's a 90-20 or 90-10. Or so sometimes somebody could be carrying you 110%. So you have to be able to do that and know your limits. And then when you add kids, it becomes increasingly difficult to deal with family on top of that. And then you got to deal with your family and her family. And but that's...
I agree, man. It's something that I feel like I said, it's something the world is missing today. It's almost the government, and no one really wants you married. I mean, you get more benefits not being married. I don't know, man. It's a weird time we live in. And I'm not saying that people who don't get married are wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I just think, I don't personally believe you have to be with someone for 2 years to know if you want to marry them. In my view, if you know that person for at least a year, I mean, what more can you find out? You know what I'm saying? Like, some people say, "Oh, we're gonna get married next year," and I've seen it, man, with my own eyes. I've seen it probably 10 times with 10 different people. They say they're gonna get married, they never get married, man. They keep pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, and then eventually they end up falling out of love. I just feel like marriage is a glue. Now, I do agree as well. People get married that were never in love in the beginning, and then that's why you have divorces. So I get it, but I just would feel like if people take marriage more seriously, it would definitely change for the better, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely do. Well, let me ask you, what was your first concert or the first concert that you remember?
So this is funny. I don't know if you were there at the time, but my first concert I ever visited. Now, let me make this straight. I've never actually been to a real like professional concert. Never. It never happened with me. My mom was very strict. I got a twin brother. She thinks we'll get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So the first like concert I would call a concert was actually at the church me and you went to. And there was a band performing there called Chosen Few. And a quick funny story about that. Like I said earlier, me and my brother went to a school where the culture was mostly African American. It was rap. The culture was way different from an all-white school. And at the time, there was a rap group out of New York called Dipset. And they were wearing like everything pink, man. Like they had everything pink. They had fitted hats that were pink. They had shirts that were pink. Even Timberlands, it was pink and baby blue. That was like the thing at that time. And me and my brother picked it up fast because I love pink. I love baby blue. And I'm very comfortable with my sexuality. And me and my brother were like, yo, let's start wearing pink, man. So like we started like buying all these pink clothes and baby blue clothes. And we were like wearing them around our school. And we weren't the very first ones to do it at our school, but we were on that train right when it happened. And it like blew up, man. Like everybody, like we had like straight gangsters wearing pink, man. It was a cool little movement. But I say all this because the church that we were going to, my mom really wanted us to go there to listen to this band called Chosen Few. And I was like, I'm going to bring some of my friends. I want some of my friends to go. I remind you, the church that we were going to, unfortunately, was mostly white, and there was mostly older white people there. Me and my brother were the type of people that wore do-rags and stuff like that. And you, Johnny, like you were like one of the main ones who never judged us. You were there with us. You supported us. Like you knew the culture. Like, you know, you were a DJ. Like you understood how culture is and how rock and roll was the culture at one point and stuff like that. And how rap is like the culture today that kind of rap's the new rock and roll. So me and my brother brought like 4 of our friends with us, and they were black. We went to this all-white church. We went to go see this all-white Chosen Few like gospel band, and we were all wearing like pink. And story short, like we had like some of my friends were raising their hands. I don't know if they were joking or whatnot, but they were like praising. And at the very end of the concert, the main singer goes, all right, I got to ask this, man. I need to know where the closest J.C. Penney's is because I have got to go get me some pink shirts for the next concert because they were doing like this weekend thing there, I think. So they had a concert like the next day there or something. And he asked us to stand up, like our whole like little crew to stand up and was like, don't these guys look good, man? Real men wear pink. It was something like that. And we just thought it tickled all of us, man. Like we were just dying. Like it was so cool that the guy on stage shouted us out. And it was a good like 200-300 people in this big gym. I just always remember that, man. It's something that I can't forget. It was funny, man. And yeah, the pink stage finally faded away a little bit, but I still wear pink here and there. And you know, real men wear pink. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I always would. And I still do. My pants sag a little bit, you know, maybe not as much as some people sag because I do wear a belt because I'm getting older now, and if my pants fall down, you know, somebody might call the police. But I do, still have a sag in my pants, and some of my shirts are bigger, but probably I'm growing into them now. You know what I mean? So they probably fit better now. But yeah, I just like that you guys would push the envelope, and you always did. They were your friends. I mean, you didn't make excuses for it. You were just like, they're my friends, man. I go where they go, where I go. And it was no excuses made. We're going to the chosen few. Let's go to the chosen few. Let's go have a good time. And you guys were always looking to have a good time in those different environments, and you did. Yeah. And it was truth in that, because that you guys were always living it. Yeah. That's exactly how you guys were. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. Well, I think you touched on this already, your first music purchase, and you told us, I believe it was a tape, because this was before CD.
I think it was before, that era when CDs were still first coming out, but you could, tape was still pretty popular. I think it was that era when CDs just came out, or it could have been I can't remember which ones came out first, but yeah, I think it was Planet 9, or I'm trying to think of some other name that I think it was Planet 9. And I remember going in there and getting it. And that was my first time really ever in a record store. Because you don't really see too much record stores anymore. You can go to Target, Walmart, places like that, and go where they had the CDs. But I was kind of lost when I got there. I didn't know what to do, where to look at. I just went straight up to the people and was like, I like this song, I'm Blue. I started singing it. And they're like, oh, okay, it's over here. We got it. But I'll tell you this, though, man. I was a little bit older when I was about 14 or 15. My mom and dad, actually, it was when I was 13. Me and my brother, my twin brother, we wanted a dope stereo. We never had a nice banging stereo to ourselves. My dad had one downstairs, and he would always play his little country music, and then he had his little 90s jams of hip hop. Well, we wanted our own, so my mom and them surprised us one year. They went out to, I don't know if it was Best Buy or where they went, but they got this awesome stereo, and they ended up buying us, and we didn't ask for it either. It was completely a surprise. They brought us a Tupac CD, and I want to say the other CD was Biggie. I can't remember. But I just remember, man, that's where I was first introduced into hardcore hip hop was Tupac's CD. It was a CD with Hey, I'm Sorry, Mama. I can't remember the other songs. I never forget, because my mom's this young white lady at the time, and she told me, she was the people thought I was crazy because I went in there and I was my two twin kids, I want to surprise them with the hip hop album. What's the best thing to buy? And they were like, oh, you need to give them this Tupac CD. It had parental advisory on it and everything, and she still got it for us. So that's what really kind of, I guess, just a little bit towards hip hop, because I grew up on pop. I don't care who makes fun of me. I don't care. But me and my brother loved NSYNC. We loved Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Backstreet Boys, LFO. It was the whole pop era for us. My mom kind of introduced us to Tupac through that. And then after Tupac, it was Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. And then that kind of just sealed the deal for me and my brother through the hip hop culture, and, so on and so on.
If you got Netflix, you should watch a documentary called Pop. It's either called Pop or Pop Music. And it's episode 3. They talk about pop music from Sweden because of ABBA. And part of that whole awakening is Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. They went over to Sweden and got their history through this one. I don't want to mess it up for anybody that hasn't seen it, but go check it out. It's pop music. That's such a cool story, though, about your mom, and I could totally see her doing that, buying that album. And I used to work at a record store. We would always take bets on what they were going to ask for, and I had this sweet grandma come in one time, and she was like, yeah, I'm looking for this song, and its song is about Jesus. I think it's called Bullet with Butterfly Wings. And I'm like, you want the Smashing Pumpkins? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, is this for a gift? And she's like, no. I'm like, ma'am, this whole album is not going to be shouting out to Jesus. It's a double album, right? And she bought the CD because of Bullet with Butterfly Wings, because Billy Corgan's on that song shouting out to Jesus. And I thought it was so hilarious that I would have never guessed that in a million years. I mean, I could kind of see parents coming in, picking up stuff, but usually when it had parental advisory on it, they would put it back, and and you're not going to get it, It's got a parental advisory on it, but that's so cool that your mom bought you that. And what bigger artists can you have besides Tupac and Biggie? I mean, East Coast, West Coast, you got the best of both worlds. And well, I mean, he wasn't always West Coast. He was East Coast first, but still, I think he was still East Coast on that album with Dear Mama, but that's an awesome story.
Yeah, it was something I'll never forget. I listened to Tupac, one of the greatest, but it was more after that, just opened the door to hip hop for me, and my brother. But I would have to say it was like 50 Cent and Lil Wayne who really, and take all the pop and add that pop with 50 Cent and Lil Wayne. That's where like we got our style from. Like that was like, it was just a weird style, man. It was just, I like weird music. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would go into the record store and I would pick up, I'm like, yeah, I want the new Snoop Dogg and I want Harry Connick Jr. And they're like, for you? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, seriously? Like those don't go together at all. But that's what I would go out and buy because that's my eclectic mix.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You got to have it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so hang on.
You are still under the influence with DJ Johnny Bravo.
We are back. I'm Johnny Bravo. You're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Deane Walden, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. All right,
Yes, sir.
Deane. Yes, sir. What's your favorite song or songs?
So my favorite song right now, this is so funny, but it is a country song. His name is Trey Pendley, and the song is called Daddy's Son. If y'all are listening and you kind of like country, check it out. It's called Daddy's Son. If you didn't have a good dad growing up, don't watch it. But if you had a good dad, listen to it. It's an awesome song. It's him basically explaining who he is as a person and how like he's his dad's son. But I had a great father, growing up. But I also listened through to that song through my son's eyes as well. It's kind of like a double whammy. And it's just, I haven't really learned a song lyric by lyric in years, man. And I know this song lyric by lyric. And I would really encourage y'all to check that out. Man, other than that, I mean, I've got tons of other favorite songs. One hip-hop song that I know lyric by lyric, because if it's your favorite song, you got to know it lyric by lyric, would be, it's an artist, there's two artists on the song, but it's called Hey Ma. And it's very explicit language, but it's called Hey Ma. And it's by Cameron and Joel Santana, and they were in the group called Dipset. But me and my brother, like when we were like 13, 14, that was like the song that like set it off. I mean, we can tell you every single part about that song, man, like every lyric, and that's got some good memories behind that song. So it's called Hey Ma by Cameron and Joel Santana.
All right, so we're going to take it a step further here and ask you what your favorite band, artist, or group is.
All right, so I have a couple of favorite groups, but I'm going to do them by genre. So if we're going by genre, my favorite Christian band is probably, I would say it is, goodness, what is it's Elevation Worship. I would say they're my favorite Christian band. If we're going just like secular, like punk rock, it's between Blink-182 and Good Charlotte. I probably would lean a little bit towards Good Charlotte because they were a little bit more my era. I think Blink-182 came out like a little bit, before me. If I had to pick old school band, it's definitely the Jersey Boys because that was something that my grandma played for us. I know that they were a different name when they were younger, but I'm just going to say Jersey Boys. And favorite rapper of all time is no doubt Lil Wayne. He's the GOAT. Lil Wayne started doing punk rock in like 2005, and he was doing punk rock and rap together. He's a lyrical genius, but like he was so far ahead of his time because now if you look at like MGK, Post Malone, some of these other artists that are doing that punk rock stuff with rap and tuned into it. I mean, Lil Wayne's the GOAT, man. He's the greatest of all time. I mean, he started the face tat era. He started the mixtape era. he is like a pioneer in the hip hop culture, man. And me personally, like that's my Tupac. Like that's who I feel is the greatest of all time when it comes to the rap culture.
Now, there's a little song, and I'm sure you heard about it because rock has always influenced rap and vice versa, is Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in sixth grade, that blew our sixth grade minds because they were mixing the two, and you didn't hear very many black artists on MTV. And so in that video, when he's breaking down the wall, when Steven Tyler from Aerosmith is breaking down the wall, he's breaking down barriers for the rock and the rap world that all of us kids could come together and enjoy a piece of music. I mean, there were so many just, punk, rock, heavy metal kids that like that, rap, rock, R&B kids that like that. And we were all together getting the fat laces, buying the Adidas, all because of Run DMC. So when you talk about Lil Wayne being the GOAT as far as the punk rock era, he probably got a little bit, rap does that, bars from everyone, from Run DMC and others, but it's so cool when they can mix those genres together and just get people hyped. And Lil Wayne is definitely a GOAT for doing that because he's got some bangers, man.
He does, man. He actually loves his fans. I think he's got 13 or 14 free mixtapes, and he goes bar for bar on every song on the mixtape. Don't make rappers don't do that no more. They don't give out free music anymore. Everything's got to be for the dollar now. That's something I will forever be grateful for, Wayne doing that. Of course, he's got albums too, but he gave you free music as well. I think that's what really blew him up even more in the culture back when I was younger, doing those free mixtapes.
That says a lot about him and his character and solidifies him as the GOAT. Are you ready for the big finale?
For sure, for sure.
Here we go. How has music impacted your life?
Oh, man, we could talk about that all night. But how has it impacted my life? Music gave me an outlet. It gave me an outlet to express who I am as a person. There's songs that I've done that I've gotten deep on when it comes to just, giving my life to Christ. It gives me an outlet. It's kind of like an audio journal, not everything that I do, but a lot of music. If I'm looking through the lens of an artist, it's changed my life because it gives me an outlet, like an audio journal to express myself, not to only express myself, but to express the message of Christ using using the gift that God gave me to promote good news to other people, to random people all across the world. I mean, I looked on my Spotify and I got people all around the world listening, even if it's 3 people in Uganda or, all around, man, China. It's crazy when you look at the statistics about who's listening. I mean, it's incredible. Even if I just help make one person's day better is amazing. But to also bring a message like that, the gospel, the gospel of grace, to tell someone, hey, I know you probably are going through something that is condemning you, but I have the best sin for you, and it's this message about Jesus. And man, music has just changed my life all around. Not only me doing music, it changed my life, but just listening to music. There's tons of people that I've seen, that I've met, that people will say Leonard Skinner saved their life. There's people out here you would never think, certain bands, people will cling on to any type of song that gets them through a rough day or a rough time. And it could be any band, it could be any artist. And I think it's amazing because, like I said, man, it's you expressing yourself through audio form. And if just one person can relate to that, it's just amazing. And it's actually helped me in my life. It's given me motivation. Me personally, if I can make a good song, why can I not be successful in something else, Why can't if I can make a song and talk to someone through a song, why can't I just get up on a stage and preach the gospel? You know what I'm saying? Or why can't I just walk up to someone and say hi to someone and make their day better? Music is so important, man. And I ain't trying to go biblical on you, but if you get into scripture and understand that Satan it calls him the prince of the air in the Bible. And when you think of air, you think of airwaves. And when you think of airwaves, You think of sound waves. You can corrupt someone's mind by using words, but you can also do the exact opposite. You can use your words to heal people, to break condemnation and stuff like that. Music is a very scary thing if it's used the wrong way, because there's tons of other people, like crazy people out here, that use songs to do bad things. It's always a yin and yang. It's always a good and evil thing. But if you can use music the right way to make a better, positive place, man, that's how music will impact anybody. I mean, wasn't there a deaf artist that wrote music? Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they changed the world and couldn't even hear. Yeah, it's changed my life dramatically for the best, man.
Well, thanks so much for being here. I don't see you as much as I probably should. I do witness your life from far away on Facebook and social media. I know that you love your wife and that you love your son and that you definitely love the Lord. I just thank you for being here today and sharing about you and about your music. Besides Spotify, where can people find you? Do you have a website, or do you have any other means that people could see where you're at?
If you really want to find me, you can just Google me, just Deane Walden. You can find me under YouTube. You can find me under Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all the music platforms. If you just look up Deane Walden, I'm under there. Like I said, I just dropped an R&B, like a throwback R&B album for my wife. It's called Brown Eyed Beauty. It's got like 4 or 5, maybe it's like 5 or 6 songs on it. It's got that up-tempo but modern-day Jersey boy type feel. Before that, I dropped a Christian album. I got 4 other ones out right now. So yeah, just feel free to go look, man. And I appreciate you having me. We definitely need to link up in the future.
That sounds good. Well, thanks for going under the musical influence of today's guest, Deane Walden, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Go under the influence on Instagram at DJJONNIBRAVO_ under the influence. You can also contact us by email. It's djjohnnybravo.undertheinfluence@yahoo.com. Check out my other podcast with my son, Hero Chat Show. And please subscribe to Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo, where you listen to your podcast. I'm Johnny Bravo. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
No longer under the influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Until next week.